talk about the market update. I've got Shannon here with me. I've been in a deep dive in October, going from event to event, capturing the best of the best information. I've been all over the country, all over Washington and into Idaho, and have picked up the best of the best. So I'm going to share a couple of the key things, key takeaways, and I want to talk about a product that I think would be very beneficial to you as you're thinking about your new year. There is a few things that I would consider, and we'll talk about in the later webinars coming up in November and December. But what I can tell you is that we are properly positioned at Best Choice Realty to take on whatever marketplace, whatever kind of thing happens in 2025, we are prepared to take it on and do very, very well as a company. In fact, October was our very best October ever on record. So I'm very pleased with the results that we have had. Not only in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, but all three marketplaces are doing very, very well. So we're in good shape. Let's go to the next slide. So I think that the key thing I want you to keep in mind as we're going to learn together with each other over the next several weeks would be this little Steve Harney. He said it best. He says, most agents know what's happening. Good agents understand what's happening, but the great agents are able to explain what's happening. And so my goal really in these Monday night webinars is to give you guys enough, obviously some knowledge, helping you understand what's happening. We've done a good job, but really I want to get to the point, and we're starting that with the Best Choice Idol, the great agents, the ones that are able to explain some of the things that are happening in the marketplace. And so tonight we're going to kind of start with a few tips and tricks. I'll show you what I would share with my clients, and hopefully that will help you build confidence in sharing what's happening with your clients. So the one thing that I thought was really cool with one of the conferences I went to was a snapshot of a survey that was done with sellers on what do sellers want in 2023 and 2024. And so this was a snapshot. I had to clip it was a Zoom meeting that I actually was on. It was a conference, and it was a Zoom portion, which was pretty cool. But this is the amount of the percentage, I believe. Move your heads around here so I can see what my slide is. Yeah, all buyers, a percentage. So as you know, 89% of photos, the number one thing sellers want, they want beautiful photos taken of their properties. So most of the agents at Best Choice Realty are hiring professional photographers, are doing the right things to get our listings properly marketed with photography. 86% of the sellers want detailed information about the write-up. And I know the ChatGPT has been very helpful in helping some of you who maybe be bilingual or have always struggled with how to describe the property, because the sellers do still consider that very important. 86% said that they would rate that at that level. But the fascinating part, and what I'm going to show you tonight, is the floor plans. How important floor plans have been to buyers and to sellers of where they rate the marketing tools that their listing agent will do. Floor plans rates 67% wished or hoped or kind of expected that their agents would provide floor plans. So many photographers have provided floor plans in their photo packages. And I'm sure some of them, after using this product, I'm sure some of them are subscribed or they have this app on their phone, because it's very, very easy to do. So I want you guys tonight to take a takeaway. Those of you that have listings, it may just take you walking through your property if you don't have a floor plan, but seeing that 67% of sellers expect that they want to have floor plans, and I think buyers are wanting that too. This is the product I'll show you here in a minute. But the contact information, to Sean's point, they want to be able to contact the real estate agent, having that prominence, if you can, on your signs, on your marketing, having that prominently placed, I think is a good thing. 63% expect that. Virtual tours actually dropped down, and real estate contact information rose above the virtual tour. So I think people kind of just have taken virtual tours for granted. Maybe some of them think that's part of the photo package. That's probably the reason it's only at 58%. But I thought it was fascinating that floor plans were up there at like number 3. Neighborhood information, you guys do a good job, or you should do a good job by contacting your title company and getting home books or getting neighborhood information to provide to your clients and to provide to people that are interested in your listings. Videos, interactive maps, virtual open houses, 35%. Obviously important, but not as important as floor plans. So Northwest MLS is looking at some different products, but the one that I think is pretty cool, I always love it when it's free, the 2D floor plan for QB Casa does not cost you anything. You do need to download the app. It is on the app, it's on the Apple, and it is an Android-based product. So you can go to any of those and download that. Do it today. It does take time to process. The free option does take 24 hours, I believe, to process your floor plan. But essentially what it will do is it will take your listing. You have to activate your geolocation, and you will have to use your camera to walk through a property. But essentially it will create a floor plan for you, such as the one right here on the left. Why you use floor plans on a listing? Really, it's one of the most desired features on a listing. It helps buyers understand the layout, like where would my sofa go? Could I remove a wall? Maybe I could update the floor plan and make it more open, or I could create another office space for my kids because they're going to be homeschooled, what have you. That's the kind of thing that a floor plan will do for you. It is also interesting because I played with moving the floor plan as a photo, upload it into the supplements and putting that photo, moving it around. And I do seem to get more activity by bringing the floor plans. I used to put them at the very end of my photo suite. And I played with, even on my listings, moving the floor plan to like position number 7 or position number 5 in the photo lineup. And all of a sudden I start to see more activity. So there must be something to that survey that was done recently. So by using QB Casa, I just did it on the Gig Harbor location that we're in here. So I'll get my floor plan of my office location here. But you'll scan using your phone, scan the property. You'll have to make sure the doors are open and all the lights are turned on. So again, photographers love this product. I think a lot of them are using this product. Then they'll hit the upload button, and then within 24 hours, you'll receive your floor plan. And the floor plan would look something like the right. It's 2D. The enhancements, the 3D or the staged floor plans do cost money, and it can be anywhere from $65 to I think $85. But it is pretty cool, the enhancements that you can do. Obviously, where the sink is placed, where the stove, that those types of appliances would be placed with the cost but it doesn't cost that much. And to do it, when I did it the first time, I was like, wow, technology has come a very long way. So I can see this changing the way appraisers appraise properties. I can see this changing the way we enhance our listings and stand out from some of the other listing agents that may not provide this type of tool for their clients. But ultimately, it's not difficult to do if you have a phone, and it's something that just takes a little extra time to walk through the property. So that's the product that I wanted to get you in touch with. Again, just go and download QB Casa, and then you can test it out yourself and see what you think. You have to kind of bypass, but you're looking for the free, and there is a free option. It's the 2D is the free option. Up on the screen, we've always been challenged, I would say, in areas of Idaho and Spokane because their MLS does not subscribe to Fast Stats or InfoSparks. But I went ahead and purchased a product that will allow me to get market data, not only from a recruiting standpoint, but also relevant to market data. So on the screen here, what you have is from one of my tools that I'm using to access the market activity in Spokane, for example. I also can toggle between Spokane and North Idaho very easily. But I think it's important to notate what's important to all of you as you're planning your businesses for next year, but also to notice different trends to give to your sellers or to your buyers about what's going on in the marketplace. It's one thing to, again, understand, to know, but it's actually more important for you to be able to explain this to everyone. So I'd say that these are part of the things that you want to do as far as knowing what is sold, what is the market like in your geographic area. That's an important point. So if you're doing InfoSparks or using Fast Stats, or you're doing something on the Spokane MLS, you do want to know, how long does things relatively take? What's the average days on market? Is that going up or is that going down? In Spokane, the days on market is going up by 12.25% just in 1 month alone. we're going to see that trend, I think, happen throughout the end of this year in all of the areas we service. And even into 2025, we will see the average days on market go up. The average price, though, it's fascinating, is actually, it only went down 2.17%. So that's actually not as bad as what I think some people were thinking in Spokane. So you can talk very, very intelligently if you have some good, relevant market data. This market activity data you see here on the screen is coming from their MLS. Median sale price has actually gone up. Solds actually have gone down by 10%. So you can really use this sale to ask ratio. That's another very important thing. If I price my home at a certain price, do I have to negotiate? That's what the seller is thinking. And in this case, in Spokane, they're going to price it right. And usually it's only negative 0.17%. That sale to ask ratio, S/A, that's kind of their little lingo on this market activity report, is pretty flat, meaning that if you price your home correctly, it will sell very quickly, or it will sell at the asking price that you have indicated. So again, with proper price, with knowing that the market is increasing in inventory, we have to be very competitive of how we set the price. So that's how I would use that market activity report that I can provide you in Spokane. We can also do that same report in North Idaho, and there's other reports I can drill down, look at for the annual or the month or the prior year, much more activity that we can look at to help you with when your appointments. So house prices, this is the other thing. There are all kinds of news stats that you can reflect on. And one of my favorite news media has come from Keeping Current Matters. It's probably the most accurate, I would say, and the most relevant, and one of the things or the websites that I check regularly at the end of the year. Luckily, I was able to attend the Tom Ferry seminar, and he easily went over, had Keeping Current Matters beamed in. And so this was a slide that I took from that breakout, if you will. What I liked about this is the house prices nationally, and you could see Seattle on the map there. Seattle is doing a lot better than the rest of the nation, and I would anticipate being in the marketplace of Washington, that Seattle and Washington are very, very well positioned across the entire nation as far as what the house prices will do. And it's because our economy is very good and it's diverse as far as different types of products, such as, yes, I know we have Boeing complications, but Boeing is not our only means of the jobs. We have tech, we have other sectors, medical, and other things that compete with each other for the housing sector. So luckily, when one is not doing well, we have other sources of housing needs that take place in our marketplace. So that's why Washington and Seattle specifically are faring better than the rest of the nation. The listing count, though, you can see has kind of been increasing all year long. You can see that from 2024, as soon as January hit, you could see the nice rise. I love that slide. If you go to Keeping Current Matters, they will actually provide you with a very easy slide that you can look at for any area of the county or the city. It's very nice, but I just pulled the Seattle one. It was easy for me to pull today. But I like that, those kind of showing graphs to people that you're meeting with as sellers. It definitely shares the story of what's going on and why you don't want to overprice your home, because you will be in competition with other sellers. Let's go to the next slide. This is the pending listing count. So you also need to consider when you're working with clients, either buyers or sellers, what is the pending like? And you can see it's been a very, very wonky or a wobbly year. It's been down, then it went up, then it went up, then it went down, then it went up, then it went down. The pending listings have been very, it's really based on those interest rates that Sean talked about. Going up, going down, not really understanding what the feds were going to do and where the buyers, are they going to sit on the fence or are they going to move forward? And that's why the pending listing count has been that way. But you know what? Definitely looks better than 2023. So we're happy about 2024, and we're actually going to probably see that hopefully level out in 2025, but not have a year like we did in 2023. This one is interesting, and I love this one from Keeping Current Matters. The mortgage rates decrease leading up to 8 of the 11 presidential elections. I like this slide because it talks about from July to November, and this is just taking that snapshot from 1980, you can see the interest rate. So if you're talking about this election it's happening tomorrow, the chances of the mortgage rates decreasing leading up to the election, we've kind of seen an interesting dilemma of it. They actually went up. So would this be the only time that they went up? Who knows? I think it's interesting to see that you're going to see a lot of different things with interest rates. So hopefully they do go down in the coming months, but you never know. But fascinating when you go back and look at history. Total home sales, this would be the forecast. It is forecasting to rise. This is in the millions, 4.7 million and 2 point. So 2023 is 4.8, 2024 is 4.7. But, you know, in 2019, we had 6 million. So we've had a huge drop in the amount of sales, but what we're looking to do is see that I guess what you have hope in knowing that I would expect it to be kind of at the 2018, 17, 18, 19 levels. So I would say it would increase. That would be my guess. If I had a crystal ball, that's what I would probably predict. I'm not an economist by any means, but I've been working in the Washington area for nearly 25 years. But you're going to see much more sales, and we're positioned to do more of those sales and capture that business. The 2025, this is what the percent appreciation would be this is according to NAR, Freddie Mac. This would be their appreciation numbers, a 4% increase, 4.4 increase according to Goldman Sachs. It depends on who you talk to and their economists and how they're looking at their numbers. But this is overall the national increase of percent appreciation forecast for 2025. So if you look at NAR, I don't really trust the NAR 1.9, but they might be more in tune. I would say that it's going to be somewhere in that range, anywhere from 0.3 to 4.4. It should land somewhere there as far as the percent appreciation. So there's homeowners. There was a study that was done. I love this one too, that I saw on the screen. That homeowners are less likely to sell due to interest rates. And so only 35% actually said that they wouldn't sell unless the interest rate was less, they had an interest rate less than 6%. And it's funny because the interest rates did get very close to 6%. And yet we saw that nice little rise. But if we can get the interest rates lowered to that 6 or 5, look at that. We'll have 65% of people wanting to put their home on the market. So that's a huge opportunity, is to think about that those interest rates will have an impact on us for 2025. And we need to be very, very closely aligned with our lender to be on top of when things up, when things go down, and when things go up. Any change will prompt action. That's what I will tell you. And the same question was asked to buyers as well. More than half of the home buyers need the rates to be under 6%. So which mortgage rate, if any, would you need to be comfortable buying a home this year? So 52%, over half of the buying pool said they needed the rate to be under 6. But there's no rate that would make them comfortable. I think it's fascinating that 38% said there's really no rate that has no impact. We're really focusing on that 38% right now, and we're winning. That's what I can tell you, is because the rates are well into the 6s and close to 7. And so we are really focusing on those people that rate doesn't matter. It's all about lifestyle. And we are really putting the heart back into real estate and helping buyers make buying decisions that make sense for them and for their family and their investment. So I guess to conclude, we are going to do another class on InfoSparks and fast stats. Some of you need a refresh on that, on how to use those stats. I'm going to have the best of the best trainer at Northwest MLS. I'm going to block out an actual clock hour class because I want the full class. And I'll do that in December. So get prepared for that. In the meantime, if there are some statistics that you're needing to help you win, or if you're needing my assistance to create a letter that will help you and give you that added benefit to help you win a listing appointment, I am all game for that. I think that that's what it's going to take to make a seller feel comfortable putting their home on the market, to have the owner of Best Choice Realty essentially vet Shannon Hall if she's going to go on a listing appointment. She needs that little attaboy or attagirl. I'm happy to supply that and help you win the listing, essentially that's where we're going to make some headwinds at the start of the year when everybody else is trying to figure out how to navigate whatever marketplace we're in. Best Choice Realty will have a very good stronghold of the marketplace with the sellers. So that's what I had to share. As always, we're always here to assist you. Rochelle, Shannon, Candace, Virginia, Tara, I know we're all here today wanting to support and grow your business. If you have any questions, this would be the time to ask them. I actually got done 4 minutes early. I must have talked very quickly, but I'd love to take your questions. If you have something specific to bring to the group, let's go ahead and open up the mics. Square feet on the floor plans, Jan said. Yes, the square feet is interesting. We've talked about the square feet. There is a disclaimer on the floor plans that says it's relatively it's proximate, but it is so dang good, Jan, that it's fascinating the amount of appraisers that are getting involved in Cubic Casa because it is saving them a lot of time. Sometimes they are basing their analysis. If it does approximate to be very close, they're able to do their analysis very easily. So I think it's going to get better and better the more users use the product. Already, it's pretty dang good. It's definitely within that range of error. But thank you for the question.
Did you say?
Somebody asked if you can go upstairs. I showed you just a one floor plan. You actually can go upstairs. So if it's multi-level, there's 3 different levels, or you have like a deck, it will actually map out the deck for you as well. So it's pretty slick that way. Try it on your own house and see what you find out, and let me know, because I do know that there are talks where we're negotiating with different MLSs to see if we can get some added benefits of enhancing the product and making it even better. Susan, you had a question? Go ahead.
I think you said earlier when you kind of were doing your own little rough draft of this and you put the floor plan, did you say it was better to put it in the beginning or at the end of the photos?
Towards the beginning, I played with it. I had it at the very, very end. In fact, it was the last photograph, as we uploaded it, and I moved it up into the first 7 photos. And all of a sudden my phone started ringing. So I do know that moving photos around does help in marketing, but knowing that once I saw the stat on the screen, Susan, and I thought, man, consumers are really wanting that floor plan. That's when I made that swap, and it made a difference for my listing. So I don't know if it does for yours, but I certainly would try it.
Thank you.
Yep, you bet. Other questions? Looks like Guy had a question. Do you have a Keeping Current Matters account? Looks like another good place for interesting stats. Yes, I have 2 accounts, Guy. I have a Keeping Current Matters account, and I also have an Inman News account. So I can stay apprised about what's going on in the real estate industry and the mortgage market nationally, and just so I understand what's going on locally as well. So there's a lot of talk, and you can get bogged down. I will say don't go into the weeds, because there's a lot of hype with some of these Keeping Current Matters. I look and I'm looking for good data, and that's why I like Keeping Current Matters. The other one that Sean Warner has available too, and you would also get access to this, would be on the MBS Highway. So it's looking at the mortgage market and that kind of thing. That MBS Highway is also a very, very good place to get data. If you don't have access to that, you can just contact Sean Warner. He can log in, give you a snapshot, can give you access. That's something he checks daily. So it's something most mortgage companies offer that up to their lenders or MLOs, so they have access to that relevant data. Okay, other questions? That was good. That's it. Okay, you guys are a quiet group. Any other questions? Welcome back, Dan. Dan Reynolds is back. Good to see you. All right, Sabat. Anything else? Oh, trend graphics. Super. Trend graphics and InfoSpark's pretty similar. I think it's just a different way of looking at the data That's a great one as well. I've used a Trend Graphics as well in the past. Christina Loper is using Trend Graphics. Is there anything else you guys are using to come up with market stats or graphs, or are you building your own? I saw some guy in our office, he actually drafted his own little spreadsheet. I thought it was pretty cool. He used, some information about his local neighborhood and put a nice little graph together, and it was very, very well done.
So Rochelle, I just wanted to say, about back to the floor plans is actually, it's interesting you brought that up tonight, is because I had a desktop appraisal request that came in on one of my listings, and she
Mhm.
called me and asked me if I had floor plans, and neither the seller or I had floor plans, and if I had known about this, I at least could have given her something to use, so.
Yeah, it saves them a lot of time. So I think that there is ways for that tool to be more, save appraisers time, save sometimes buyers that this house won't fit their needs. It won't fit their furniture. I had a guy one time, Virginia, he was looking for a bed, this massive custom bed that he has. He was a big guy. He was almost 7 feet tall. And all the bedrooms would not fit. And so it'd be so nice to have had this back in the day in 2003 or four. I still remember this day, not being able to find a bedroom, a primary bedroom that would fit his custom bed for his 7-foot body. So yes, I think that would be very helpful for buyers agents and also for sellers to just kind of promote their house in a much more enhanced way.
I agree. And the one thing about the statistics is what I find is, and you said don't get bogged down, is that we have to take not only the statistics, but local knowledge to interpret them. So when we speak about them, we're not just number pushers, we're actually giving them an interpretation of our knowledge, not just from those numbers, from around our market. So
Good
I think
point.
that's really important to have a more, not robotic conversation, like these are the numbers, this is the way it is, but a conversation where you're interpreting and giving insight based
Right.
on multiple different aspects.
Well, you've done it well, Virginia. I've heard Virginia do it in a listing appointment that I got to be a sneak peek and kind of sit in the room while she gave a listing presentation in the office. And I thought you did a great job on how you explain, the client asks, what's the market like? Would it be smart for me to put my house on the market now? Or would it be smart for me to wait until January? And what Virginia did very, very well was she provided the statistical information, the data, but she flipped it back on the seller and asked more about him and what was important to him about those numbers. And then she kind of weaved it back in. She was like a sneaky little crocodile. It kind of weaved it back in and made it all about him. And the data it just marinated. It was just like, he was ready to go. He signed the listing agreement and the house is on the market. So I think it's how to your point, you definitely want to use the data, but you don't want to get bogged down and just be a drone and like list it out. You want to actually know how it's relevant to that seller or to that buyer, why it matters to them, and how you can almost predict what's going to happen based on that data that you're providing. And what I can tell you is listings are going up. So if you're thinking about selling, it's like, do you want to be competitive? Do you want to have more homes on the market to compete with? Or are you looking for the ready, willing, and able buyer now? And right now is a great time to sell because there isn't the rise of inventory, but I think by January and February, we will have a rise in inventory. So it may make sense for them to get it on the market as soon as possible. So that's what I'm telling my sellers, all across the state and into Idaho, would be to get it on the market. If you're ready to go now, let's get it on before the mad rush in January. Okay, have a good one. Thanks, Virginia. Thanks, Candace.